Hey, hello guys. So in this tutorial, we are looking at Fibonacci series. So Fibonacci series is a special series which is derived from addition of two numbers. So here we are considering n as the given input, and so total output will be nine integer values. So Fibonacci series actually starts from 0 and 1. So always the starting point will be 0 and 1. So let's consider like number 1 and number 2. So here we are starting with number 1, number 2 pointing to 0 and 1. The third number is always the addition of last two numbers. So as we can see, the third number here is addition of 1 and 0 plus 0. And if we iterate further, then the next number is addition of last two numbers. So 2 is coming from 1 plus 1. So going on, we have to you know, derive the value for all the numbers, and the number is always addition of last two numbers. So here we have designed one algorithm. So we have to take two integers, number 1 and number 2, and at the initial stage they will point to 0 and 1, and we have to immediately print those two numbers. And after that we have to take a for loop here. So our for loop will start from 0 up till n minus 2. So in this case it is 7, and as we can see, the sum is actually coming from number 1 plus number 2. So sum is initialized here, and after sum is initialized we have to straightforward print it and move our pointers from number 1 will actually point to number 2, and number 2 will actually point to sum now. So in the next iteration you will see like number 1 will point here and number 2 will point here. Number 1 is equals to number 2, and number 2 is equals to sum. If as and when we move forward, the number 1 and number 2 will also move forward like this. So let's see in the coding how we can achieve this in Java. Okay, so here I have taken n as 9 and I have created one function print Fibonacci. So I'm initializing two numbers. Number 1 is equals to 0 and our number 2 will be pointing to 1. And like I said, I have to immediately print number 1 and number 2. So we are printing number 1, adding a little space here, plus number 2. Let's add another space here. So we have already got our two numbers from our series, and we have to print the rest 7 numbers. So we will start our for loop here. So for will start from 0 up till 7. So in our case, it would be n minus 2, which is 9 minus 2, 7. And then we have to take a integer value of sum, which is coming from number 1 plus number 2, and we have to print the sum variable. So here we are printing sum and adding a space after that. So once our sum is printed, now we have to move our pointers one step ahead. So number 1 will now point to number 2. Similarly, our number 2 will point to sum, which we just got. Okay. So we don't have to print anything outside the for loop because first 2 will be printed in this statement and rest 7 will be printed in this statement. Let's see if we are able to achieve the Fibonacci series for this. Yeah. So as we can see, I've printed the number value n as 9, and we are printing the Fibonacci series starting from 0 and 1. So 1 is coming from 0 plus 1, 2 is coming from 1 plus 1, and 3 is coming from 2 plus 1, so on and so forth. So yeah, and do check out our playlist for another coding problems.